Time to look to the 5 red lights. And the Bahrain Grand Prix is underway.
Ever wondered how an F1 driver earns a nickname that sounds more like a comic book villain than a world-class athlete? Well, you're about to find out. Some of these nicknames are so intense, they sound like they belong in a video game or on a warning label. And trust me, once you hear what they did to earn them, you'll never see them the same again.
How much of a concern is starting where you are on this race at this point in the season?
Let's start with a driver whose nickname screams chaos, Mad Max. Nope, not the movie. We're talking about Max Verstappen, one of the most aggressive and controversial drivers on the grid. And no, that's not just opinion, it's his reputation. Max earned the nickname Mad Max early in his F1 career. Why? Let's just say, the man has a thing for getting a little too close to his rivals, literally. He clashed with big names like Sebastian Vettel in China and Lando Norris in Mexico, creating some unforgettable on-track drama. But that's not even the wild part. The radio outbursts? Legendary. Remember when he snapped at Esteban Ocon in 2018? Or the boiling frustration he unleashed during the 2023 Hungarian Grand Prix? It's like turning into a soap opera with turbo engines. Even the FIA had to step in and issue reprimands over his behavior. But here's the twist. Despite all that, Verstappen is still dominating the sport. So maybe being mad isn't such a bad thing after all? But if you thought that was intense, wait until you meet the man nicknamed Crash Tour. Yep, that's Pastor Maldonado, and he lived up to the name. He didn't just crash a few times. His entire career felt like a highlight reel of miscalculations. In just 96 races, Maldonado retired from 29 of them. And in his rookie season, he scored just 1 point. That's impressive in the worst possible way. Let's talk about incidents. Monaco 2012 was an unforgettable disaster. Then there was his collision with Lewis Hamilton in Spain, a move that left fans speechless and engineers probably needing therapy. Despite all the mayhem, he somehow kept racing until teams just couldn't take the risk anymore. His career faded, not with a bang, but with a shrug. So, whether it's fiery rage or a tendency to turn every lap into a demolition derby, F1 nicknames don't just come out of nowhere. They're earned, on the track, in the pits, and over the radio waves. And that's just scratching the surface. Coming up next, a guy so chill he took a nap before his first race, and another who ate ice cream mid-Grand Prix.
Did you have any temptation to go to drive the simulator to get better settings for you?
No.
Yeah, it gets weirder, but not all nicknames come from chaos. Some are born from the exact opposite: calm under pressure, nerves of steel, and a couldn't-careless attitude that somehow makes you legendary. Raikkonen, better known as the Iceman. And no, this isn't some PR move. Kimi earned that name in the most bizarre, hilarious, and iconic ways. Imagine this. You're minutes away from your first ever Formula One race, surrounded by roaring engines, tense faces, and media chaos. And you're just napping. Yep, that's what Kimi did before his F1 debut. Just casually catching some Z's like it's a Sunday afternoon, not a global racing event. That's not a one-off moment either. His entire career was packed with scenes that left fans stunned at how unbothered he could be, no matter what was happening around him. Take the 2001 Malaysian Grand Prix. Temperatures were soaring, cars were dropping like flies, and Kimi still pulled off a phenomenal win, climbing from 7th to 1st. No panic, no drama, just ice-cold driving precision. And then there's the 2007 World Championship. He wasn't even the favorite. Most counted him out. But Kimi clawed his way back and won the title by a single point. A single point. His reaction? Barely a smile. Classic Iceman. Still not convinced? Okay, picture this. It's the 2009 Malaysian Grand Prix, and the race gets red flagged due to rain. Most drivers are huddled with engineers, watching the skies. Kimi? He's already out of his car, eating ice cream. Yup, just chilling in the garage, helmet off, feet up, enjoying a frozen treat while everyone else is freaking out. If that doesn't scream Iceman, what does? But let's turn the temperature back up because the next nickname on the list belongs to a man who didn't just race. He lived like a rock star.
Famous for his off-track exploits as much as those on it, James Hunt was a flamboyant star in a glamorous era.
Meet James Hunt, a man so wild, the media didn't even have to try hard when they dubbed him Hunt the Shunt. Why? Because this guy had a reputation for crashing hard. But not just his car. He crashed through every social norm F1 had at the time. James wasn't the type to hold back, on or off the track. He was loud, fiery, and lived every second like it might be his last. And sometimes, that got him into trouble. At the 1977 Canadian Grand Prix, he punched a marshal. Yeah, punched. You don't get a nickname like Hunt the Shunt by playing nice. His lifestyle? Pure chaos. He was famous for smoking up to 46 cigarettes a day and once boasted about sleeping with over 5,000 women. Yep, 5,000. Let that sink in. But despite the madness, James could drive. Drive. The defining moment of his career came in 1976 at the Japanese Grand Prix. The rain was so heavy, many thought the race would be cancelled, but Hunt pushed through, racing in dangerous conditions, while his rival, Niki Lauda, pulled out for safety reasons. And it paid off. Hunt finished just high enough to win the World Championship by, once again, just 1 point. That season was so dramatic, it inspired the film Rush, 2013, starring Chris Hemsworth as Hunt. If you've seen the movie, you know what kind of personality we're talking about. If you haven't, you're missing out on one of F1's wildest stories. So, whether it's Kimmy's Ice Cream or James Hunt's Whiskey-Fueled Championship, these nicknames go far beyond just catchy titles. They tell a story, a vibe, a legacy. And we're still not done. Next up, a driver whose nickname sounds like something out of a spy movie, and another who was so dominant they called him the Professor, for a reason.
Even today, but say now you speak about Prost, and speak about Prost, you talk about Senna.
Now let's switch gears from raw chaos to cold calculation. Because Alain Prost didn't need drama to dominate. He just needed a strategy. That's how he earned the nickname, the Professor. While others chased glory with wild overtakes or risky moves, Prost approached every race like a chess match. Calm, calculated, always thinking 5 steps ahead. His driving style? Smooth, efficient, conservative. He wasn't out there to break records for fastest laps. He just wanted to win at the slowest speed possible. And it worked. With 4 world championships and 51 career wins, Prost became one of the most successful F1 drivers of all time. But his rise wasn't just about numbers. It was also about one of the most legendary rivalries in the sport's history. Enter Ayrton Senna. If Prost was the cold professor, Senna was the passionate warrior. Their battles weren't just on the track. They were psychological, emotional, and at times downright bitter. It all came to a head at the 1989 Japanese Grand Prix. The stakes were sky high. Senna needed to win. Prost just needed Senna not to finish. What happened? The two collided in a controversial crash that forced Senna out of the race and effectively handed the title to Prost. Was it fair? Dirty? Tactical? Depends on who you ask. But one thing's clear, Alain Prost lived up to his nickname that day. He outplayed his opponent with brains over brawn.
I don't know, I guess I don't want to admit it, but yeah, I believe that I'm still willing to put it all on the edge.
But not every nickname is so serious. Let's bring some fun back with a guy who's as famous for his smile as he is for his wheel-to-wheel grit, Daniel Ricciardo, aka the Honey Badger. Now that might sound like a weird name for a Formula One driver until you've seen the animal. Ricciardo once watched a documentary about honey badgers and instantly related. On the outside, cute, cuddly, even goofy. But in a fight, fearless. And that pretty much sums him up. Off the track, Ricciardo's got the biggest grin in the paddock and one of the best senses of humor in the sport. Fans love him for his energy, his jokes, and of course, his trademark Shoey celebration. Yes, drinking champagne from a Shoey Chew. But once the helmet's on, it's a whole different vibe. He goes full beast mode. Fearless overtakes, late braking, dives from a mile back. He's aggressive, but clean. Wild, but calculated. He's not just fast, he's entertaining. Ricciardo found major success with Red Bull, snagging several wins and podiums. But unfortunately, his prime coincided with the Hamilton-Rosberg era, a time when Mercedes was nearly untouchable. He was always right there, just never in the car that could take him all the way. Still, he became a fan favorite and kept the sport fun. The Honey Badger nickname stuck, not just because he liked the animal, but because it fit perfectly. So let's zoom out and take one last look. We've got the GOAT in Schumacher, Mad Max by Verstappen. The Iceman is munching ice cream mid-race, and Hunt the Shunt tearing up tracks and hotel rooms. Then there's the Professor playing 4D chess, and the Honey Badger laughing and lunging into corners with zero fear. Every nickname tells a story, not just about how these drivers race, but who they were when the helmet came off. Cool, crazy, clever, or completely chaotic. And that's why Formula One isn't just about speed, it's about character. Which nickname was your favorite? Did we miss any legends? Drop it in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss the next deep dive into F1 madness. Because behind every great driver, there's usually a great nickname, and a wild story to go with it.